Yo, what is good? My ever faithful, what is good, yo? So, with everything popping off in this week's episode, it's kind of funny to me that Promised Neverland has always had these really interesting encounters with each other. Um, but never have I really been into this show simply for uh, these characters alone. In the case of just, there's only two of them that really have my attention or really are worth even talking about, in my opinion, being Emma, and the traitor. But it's kind of crazy to see him straight up throw, like, try to sacrifice himself for the greater group by pretty much running and dealing with whatever these things are. Uh, it looks like these monsters actually know of their rankings or like why they have numbers on their neck, so they're not too far out of the loop when it comes down to the harvesting and all the different stuff that comes with what why ever they're doing whatever they're doing, right? So I thought that was a cool point, was them just pointing out the obvious in the grand scheme that these are people or these are beings that clearly have some type of relations with the people that are dealing with the kids and whatnot. So it was really interesting to then see someone else again come out and oppose that person, right? Like, I was not expecting someone to be like, oh, well, guess what? I am not with them. I'm also, doing my own thing out here. So it's interesting, but at the same time, you gotta think from like the perspective of what they're setting up at this point. Because guess what? None of them have really given us a reason to believe any of them are safe, right? Like, our kids in here should never trust any of these different beings outside, because you just never know what is truly going on until you're a part of it for such a long period of time, which these kids won't ever really have the chance to do if things keep going the way they are, right? Like, literally, you are going against things that can move much, much quicker than you and have clearly knowledge of more stuff out here than you probably ever could have. So just those small details alone put you at a disadvantage, put you at a point where if you mess up even in the slightest, you might end up in the wrong area. You might end up in a poisonous area, right? Like, imagine if there's just different types of places here that if you were to visit them, you straight up, get hurt in some type of shape or form. Like, there's a lot of things I could think of that they can do with this world, but I honestly just can't wait to see what Promised Neverland actually really pulls out. There's a little interesting information, or like a little tidbit, is that people really dislike the manga portion of this section of the show. So I'm actually very, very curious to see where their hatred kind of got garnered from, or if it's just like the natural thing of not knowing what was out there and then finding out what's out there, and it's just not as uh, great as you thought it was. But overall, I think we're going to be seeing a big change in the climate of who they can trust or who they're supposed to trust. Like, they just have to, right? Like, you have no choice. You trust me, you die, or you trust no one and die, type of deal. So let me know what you guys are thinking. I will definitely talk to you in the next one. With that being said, take care and peace.